Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today, let's make an ice-dyed shirt using Dalula Company's color called Peach Sangria. I'm going to end up doing a few different processes on this shirt, but the first one that I'm going to do is I'm going to do a twist type design. I'm going to grab one corner of the hem of the shirt, lift it kind of up off the table, and just begin to twist the shirt. I'm going to twist it until I can't really twist it anymore, and I don't want to keep twisting it until it twists in on itself. That's not the design I'm doing this time with this shirt. Once I have the shirt fully twisted, then I'm going to begin to coil the shirt kind of like a cinnamon roll. I'm going to start at the end where I started the twist, coil the shirt in on itself, and then once that's complete, I'm going to tie it with some kite string. You can use rubber bands or anything at this point that you like. I just found it a little easier to keep the tie tight using some kite string. To dye the shirt, I've taken a plastic tote, and down inside, I'm going to take a rack that has collapsible legs. I'm only going to extend one leg, so the rack is at an angle. I'm going to place the shirt down at the end of the rack, which is placing the shirt at an incline, and I'm going to use my silicone cake molds to make an ice barrier around the shirt. To make sure the shirt doesn't slide, I'm going to attach some wooden clothespins to the metal rack, and that'll hold the silicone cake molds up close to the shirt and the shirt in place. I'd like to see the cool color splits in this color, so I'm going to apply the dye over the top of the ice, which is also known as DOI, for dye over ice. So I've added a layer of ice to the top of the shirt, and then I'm going to lightly sprinkle some of the Peach Sangria over the top, followed by a little bit of additional dry soda ash. Then I'm going to place the shirt aside and allow the ice to melt. I've included a few photos of what the shirt looked like after the ice melted. After the ice melted, I took the shirt out and I turned the shirt over, and it was pretty much totally white on the back side. So on the back side of the shirt, I decided to go ahead and apply the dye directly to the top of the shirt instead of over the ice. So this time I added dye to the top of the shirt, added some ice over the top, and a little bit of additional dry soda ash. I did that because this dye color seems to be a very fine and light color. The texture of this dye is more like really fine sand. It's not clumpy or thicker like flour. It's a very fine dye. And I could tell from when I applied dye to the front side of the shirt, it was more of a mild color. So whenever I apply the dye to the top of the fabric and then add the ice, I can always come back and add more dye to the top or a little bit more ice to force some of that dye down through the shirt. It's not quite as easy to do when you apply the dye over the top of the ice. I mean, you can do it, but it's easier when you add the dye directly to the shirt to add more ice and force the dye down through the shirt. So I'm going to try that on the back side and see what happens. Which, by the way, this is referred to as DUI, for dye under the ice. Okay, so all the ice is melted, and you can see from the runoff or the muck, which is down inside of my container, that this is a very mild color. I can also tell from the shirt that I have quite a bit of white left in the shirt, and I don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead now and try another process on the shirt where I'm going to place the shirt down inside of a container. I'm going to apply dye to the top of the shirt, a little bit of additional dry soda ash to the top, and then I'm going to add ice on top, and I'm going to allow the shirt to process down in the muck, which, by the way, the term muck just refers to the dye that's mixed with the runoff from the melting ice. I'm going to pay a little special attention to the corners or the edges of the shirt where I see the most white. I'm actually going to add dye directly to that area. This time I'm going to add quite a bit of dye too. Like I said, this is a really fine dye and it's a very light color. Okay, so after all the ice melted, you can see in some of these photos that the muck is pretty light. It's not a super dark muck, but it is deep enough so that it's covering the shirt. I left it in here for about 48 hours after all the ice melted before I took it and began rinsing it. So I rinsed the shirt the way I normally do, started in cold water to rinse out the soda ash, warmed the water up to hot, continued rinsing in hot to rinse out the excess dye. Then I soaked the shirt by running some really hot water in my utility sink, adding a little bit of Blue Dawn dish soap to the water, and placed the shirt inside. Then when the water would cool off, I would change it out and I continued that soaking process until the water was remaining almost clear. Then I washed the shirt in my washing machine using hot water and a little bit of Dharma's Professional Textile Detergent, and then placed it in the dryer, ironed it, and let's see what it looks like. Okay, so what do you guys think? I think this color is really cool, but I don't think I got great color saturation, and this did not surprise me a bit. Like I said, this is kind of a mild color. The fold or the tie that I did on this shirt was really thick. And I just don't think this was the proper design for this color. I do like the color splits and I do like the color. And I debated whether to go ahead and make a video of this shirt or not. But I thought that this would be a great shirt as kind of a learning tool. Because if you haven't ever messed with the color before or used a color before, sometimes you don't quite know how they operate. And like I said, this is a very light, fine textured dye, and I think this would look beautiful on another design. I don't think it works great with this super thick shirt, especially not the way that I did it on the last process that I did, where I muck dyed the shirt. I did have a lot of muck. If I would have added less ice to the top, that probably would have been much better. So I don't want you guys to judge this color based upon this shirt, but I do want you to learn from it and not make the same mistakes that I did. Just maybe use it on a better design for this kind of color. So I'm not ready to give up on it yet though. So to give this color another shot, I thought I would try it a different way. I mean, at this point I've done several different processes, why not do another one? And I'm gonna do something I've never done with these ice dyes, and I'm gonna actually mix it as a liquid. I thought about putting another color over the top, but then I thought, no, let's just try this one mixed as a liquid and see what happens. So I re-soaked the shirt, and then I mixed the dye using 2 teaspoons of dye into 1 cup of water, and I added a little bit of urea to the water as well. I'm going to go ahead and spiral this shirt. So to do that, I'm doing a spiral the way I normally do with a microwavable splatter guard over the top and some locking tweezers. To hold the folds in place, I'm going to use some rubber bands. As I was dyeing this shirt, I went ahead and made a liquid swatch so you can kind of see what the color is going to look like. Using the rubber bands, I went ahead and made 6 different sections on the shirt, and I'm going to apply dye to 3 of those sections on the front and on the back. I'm also making my color swatch at the same time, so you'll see that laying on my rack as well. I used all the dye that I mixed up, which was 1 cup of dye, on this shirt. And for reference, this shirt is a size 2XL. I wanted to make sure I got good color saturation throughout the areas that I applied the dye to. So I applied the dye pretty heavily to each of those areas. Once I had the dye on the shirt, I went ahead and placed the lid on top of this container, and then I put this container outside where it was getting nice and hot so that it could process in the heat. After about 48 hours, I took it to my utility sink and I began rinsing it. And I rinsed this shirt the second time the same way I rinsed it the first time. One thing that I wanted to point out with this second rinse is I know sometimes when you rinse a shirt and you think, oh, well, I have all of the color out of the shirt, so I can go ahead and throw it in the washing machine. It may look like you do, but if you go ahead and soak the shirt like I normally do, I think you'll find that there's a lot more color remaining in that shirt than you can see when you're just rinsing it with water. So I have a photo at the very end of this rinse process showing what the shirt looked like after I soaked it for a little while in really hot water. It's always amazing to me how much additional dye goes ahead and soaks out of a shirt when you actually soak it versus just rinsing it under hot water. So this photo shows how tinted the water is after the shirt's been in here for just a couple minutes. So there is still quite a bit of dye that soaks out, even if you think you have it rinsed really well. Okay, so here we are after the spiral and the liquid dye. And what do you guys think about the color now? Because I really like the shirt better now, adding the spiral over the top. I think it looks really cool. It's got both that ice dye and the liquid dye process, which I think makes it very interesting to look at. When you first glance at the shirt, you're like, that's kind of weird. It's solid in places and it's got color splits. You can also see some of that original design in the shirt where I twisted from the corner. So there are streaks going across the shirt. I think it's just kind of an unusual shirt to look at. And I do like the Peach Sangria mixed as a liquid too. I know that's kind of odd because I haven't really used any of these ice dyed colors as a liquid. This is honestly the first one that I've done this with. But, you know, I think it's really cool. I think it's a pretty color. I like the kind of rusty peach brown color that this color is. And I know I didn't talk a whole lot about the color splits, but in the color split portion, I did end up with some like more brown colors, some pink, a little hint of yellow here and there. So like I said, overall, it's a really pretty color. I think on a different design other than the one that I chose to use it on, it would really show up and be a lot prettier than it was on my shirt. So like I said, don't judge this color based upon what I did with it. But instead, take this video for what it was meant for. It was meant kind of as a learning lesson where, you know, you can choose a design, but if you don't choose the proper color for that design, it may not turn out great. But it's not necessarily the design or the color, it's the two of them combined. And even if you end up with a situation like I did, where maybe you're not happy with the shirt after the first go round, don't give up on it. Try to pivot and maybe find another way to save the shirt. And honestly, some of the shirts that I've done that are my favorite shirts are ones where I tried to save it. And I tried to do something different so that the shirt would look more pleasing to me. And as far as this one goes, I think this one's really interesting to look at now because it's a combination of both of those processes and makes it very unique. And like I've said before, I try to show the good and the bad because there's something to be learned from every shirt that you make. So I hope that you've learned something from this video and that you can take away maybe some sort of knowledge and feel better about some tie-dye shirts that you've made that haven't turned out exactly the way you wanted them to, because it happens to all of us. And if you've enjoyed the video, I sure would appreciate it if you would like it, and if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you'll hit the bell, you'll receive a notification whenever I upload a new video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.